Hello everyone and welcome to the Whirlpool Duet Dryer. We are going to be talking about how to replace the Whirlpool Duet Dryer's heating element. Most likely you have found out that there's no heating going on in your dryer. So you're going to go ahead and check, open the door, you feel your hand inside, nothing's going on. You notice that there's no heat going on even from where it should be hottest. That, my friends, usually means that the heating element is kaput. That means you got to go and get a new heating element. I got mine on Amazon. We'll talk about that just a little later. But first, make sure that you're safe and you unplug your unit. That's important because we're going to be talking about using electricity. And without electricity, you don't have a heating element. So unplug your unit. The next, we're going to find a 1/4 inch socket. Usually it works out pretty well that you can not even have an attachment. And I have a unit or a screwdriver head that actually works with it without even putting in another piece. You unscrew both of those and then you slide it out and it pops right off and then you're good to go. Notice how I just go ahead and pop this sucker right off and it slides just like that. Easy peasy. Once you've gone ahead and taken that piece off, you take off that screw right there, that screw right there, and that screw right there that I've pointed to. That guy actually slides straight out, as you notice the direction that I'm pulling outwards. So you want to make sure that you hold on to that screw and it doesn't fall in. Then you take care of that screw itself. You don't take off that screw, and you don't take off that screw right there. Be careful with the motherboard. It's going to be delicate, but we'll get to that in a moment. And that's basically going to be pulled off, but you don't take any of that off because it's all encapsulated onto that metal. It's super easy, and it won't take that much time at all. Get to unscrewing. And now we're at the motherboard piece. I'm going to be referencing 3, but there's actually 4. And the little arrow that you see right there, there's another piece right there that goes in there. Another plug, I mean, and that actually goes in there as well. Mine was already disconnected, but you're going to be delicate with those little tabbies. You see those little tabbies, and once you pull those tabbies back, then you'll just pull those right out. Leave the blue, leave the white, leave the beige all alone. Those don't you touch at all. Leave them alone. They're fine. Don't touch them. The next, you're going to have a piece that's going to actually connect straight to the motherboard and have a white wire, and you're going to use a butter knife, and you're going to pull it out. And it should be a little bit tricky, but it's not that terrible. Once those are all done, make sure that they are held so you don't lose them. So there's going to be 4, but you're going to be great, and I referenced 3, and now you pull those out and hold on to the wires. Now I'm going to show you what the butter knife does. The butter knife is going to actually give you more opportunity to go into that 3-pronged plug, and it's going to pull out nice and easy. But keep your butter knife handy because you're going to use it at the motherboard and also down below inside the dryer. So that's a very handy tool for you, and it will allow you to not be as frustrated. Keep your butter knife handy. This is where I've taken off the metal motherboard that was sit right where I was putting my hand. Now that's leaning off to the side. It's okay. All those are fine. That screw, the screw that was actually part of the motherboard was right there. So that's already been taken off. And then that screw right there comes off. This whole piece is 2 pieces. The one where it's the Whirlpool Duet and the other buttons are all part of one piece. Where I'm taking my finger is an aesthetic piece that has to come off. I've taped mine because I've done this before, and these little metal brackets will pop off. Once you pop off those metal brackets, I apologize, those things are going to be a problem. You take that off and you set it aside. As far as the entire piece of the display, it comes straight up. As I'm demonstrating, it pulls up, not to the left, not to the right, not north or not east or west. It comes straight up. So you're going to take both your hands and pull straight up on it, and it will come right out. and it's not anchored to anything except for those 2 screws. And I'll show you that right here. You just pull firmly straight up and it clicks right out. There's a metal grooving that you'll see, and it looks very, very easy, and it should come out simply. The next is you're going to take the front plate or the front cover off of the underbelly of the dryer itself. There's 2 screws as I've shown you. That's all that happens, and that thing will actually fall straight out. It might need a little bit of a wiggle, but it comes straight out. The next piece is going to be the 2 gold screws and a silver screw that's going to be attached to the dryer fan housing where the heating comes out. You're going to take those off, plus you're going to have your butter knife ready, and you're going to unlock those little tabbies carefully as I'm demonstrating, just like that, just like that. It's a little bit of a, pain in the neck, but it's okay. The next is very important. You're going to see 2 screws, one right over there, and then its brother on the other side. You're only going to unscrew it slightly, but do not take it out. Leave it there. You can see there's a little hole underneath it, which means you're going to lift the door and the metaling and the housing, heating housing, all off together. So you're going to leave a little bit of screw left. That's the only thing you're going to do there. Down here, you're going to see 2 screws, one that, and it's also its brother. They're going to come all the way out. So those are going to come out, and you're going to set those aside, and then you're going to pull that whole thing off, the door and everything together. Here I'm going to demonstrate, and you can see that I've unscrewed this slightly at that angle, so I can lift this entire door and metal housing, heating housing off. So you're going to take your hand underneath the door, just like that, and the other hand on top, and you're going to lift straight up. And it's going to pop right off, and it's rather heavy, so maybe have somebody there to help you. What I'm going to show you here, guys, is that when this whole front plating comes off, this whole door and housing, the entire drum is connected to this piece. So you'll see in the corners of this part of the video that once you take it off, the belting and the drum is sitting out. So you're going to lift that entire drum out after you take off this front panel altogether. It's going to be heavy and awkward. Just remember how you put it in and make sure that the belt stays there and doesn't snag and or pull away. The next is the pulley wheel, and as I'm demonstrating that, that's the red circle, and then the spring is going down. It's very tight. Wear gloves, guys. This is where you're going to remove this, but take pictures of it because this is how it's going to go back on again. It's going to come from the drum, which is the belt, around the pulley wheel. It's going to hook around the black motor and then go back out to the drum. Pause this for your reference, okay? Make sure that you are doing this. Make sure you take pictures of everything. It's vital and of importance. I'm hanging on to this because I want you guys to see that it's a belt attached to the drum going around the pulley wheel, which is very tight, down through around the motor and then back out to the drum. Once you've dislodged the belt from the drum to the pulley wheel, you're going to have this, and that's the heating element right there. So you're going to see all that. Take pictures at this point. It's dirty, so make sure that you have take pictures because of the thermostats. That's the pulley wheel right there. And I've also circled the pulley wheel up above, so that's what it looks like. That's what it's been dislodged. There's the kill switch, and right here is where the other side of the belt goes, which is that black motor part, which spins nicely. Check your spins, check your fans. If the fans are moving and the motor's moving well with no noise, you're doing excellent. This is a great opportunity to clean, guys. Get your vacuum out and start to clean up this because it's the last time you're going to see it. I've taken some pictures for you here. There are 3 groupings of connections. There's the 2 thermostats, one in the left, one in the middle, and then the heating element connection itself, which is on the right. As you can see there, that's the only one that tends to be a little bit sticky, so be careful with that one. All the rest of them come off relatively easy. You just pull them out. I'll demonstrate that in a moment. The screws for the middle thermostat are just, my fingers are showing you where they are right now. And the left thermostat, you just go ahead and take the same socket wrench that you've been using for the entire deinstallation. You take those connections out, and they should be pretty simple for you, but do take a lot of pictures because the red and white wires go where they need to go, and the connection points for the heating element itself are very specific. Well, now that we've got the thermostats off, you are going to take 4 screws off of the housing, or the heating element housing, and you're going to lift from the bottom, and it's got like a little hook at the top, and you just hook it and release it. So you take the top of the heating element housing with the 4 screws and put them off for safekeeping. And once you've done that, you look back and you see that your heating element itself has numerous burn zones. Mine lasted for about 2.5 years. They tend to last about 18 months on the reinstall or the new install. It looks like I ended up losing probably part down in there is where it got the worst and started to fade off. It is a little tricky, so I haven't even disconnected it yet at the bottom. You want to just make sure you have a good grip on it and you don't break the connecting point. It's simple if you can pull it out exactly the same way every time. And notice that I'm going to go ahead and show you guys that I pulled it out the same way, which is one of the connector points has a almost like the top of it, and then the one of it is almost like a reverse of that. So it's important that you remember where it goes, number one, but also to pull on it properly. Otherwise, you might pull off the heating element wire itself, which is not going to be good. So once that comes off, it just really just pops right off. It has these like slots that it just rests in, and then the screws are what take it, actually anchor it down. So this is another opportunity to clean it. You can get up in there, really make sure, because that's not being replaced. So it's a good time to clean it, guys. And I ordered my new heating element through Amazon. You can see the older heating element to the left. And as I go ahead and start to struggle with my box, I put up some Amazon numbers, and they vary from $34, $19, and $39. They also have different types of thermostats, so look at your model number and find out your corresponding thermostat that's actually going to put or fit into your heating element. Specifically, mine's about 15 years old, so I have to find some pretty out-of-market different pieces. Follow your model numbers. And it looks like I'm successful in taking out my heating element there. So I'm going to walk it over to the lower housing and struggle on which direction it's going to go in. So remember, those little connection points are going to be sticking out. So they're going to be some sort of a slotting. You can also see where the screw goes in. You're going to have to most likely pinch the lower housing to get the heating element lined up with the top housing as well. It's a little bit of a tight fit, but it works. And as you can see, I've got them all in the correct slots, and they're going to be aligned with the screw holes for the top housing into the heating element itself. And then it goes into the fact that we now have it all put back together again with all of the thermostat in the screws and all of the wires in the correct places. So you've taken those pictures, therefore you know exactly where everything needs to go, and all the screws are put in properly. And that's how you put the element back in. We have success, folks. We have heat. And due to the fact that this is becoming quite the long video, I'm not going to show all the reinstallation parts. Take video of yourself, take pictures, and put it all back together in reverse. Honestly, folks, I enjoy these videos so much. Please like, please subscribe. Go into the comments section and tell me that you subscribe to the channel, and I'll go down and I'll comment to you, and then I'll go check out your channel. So please do continue to support the videos and all the likes. I couldn't appreciate it more. Thank you so much, and I look forward to doing more.